I was a millionaire, laying back in the chair in my senior office, looking out over the Manhattan skyline, at least in my head. The reality, I was 15 years old, in a regular classroom, staring at a whiteboard. I saw our teacher struggling to wipe it clean. No matter how hard she pressed the eraser, the board was still covered in a gray haze of old ink particles. And suddenly, an idea popped into my head. What if I could invent a new type of eraser? The one that could release a little bit of alcohol when we press it on the board so that it could dissolve the ink and no more forces, no more haze. Such an elegant solution. I thought it was a genius. I thought it was the next Steve Jobs and I was going to reinvent the eraser. So with that confidence, I spent a lot of time on a business model description and a market analysis. And took that, I made 7 phone calls to those investment banks and consulting firms. But turns out the Wall Street isn't super interested in the opinion of someone who's still got a 9 p.m. curfew. Each time, the person on the other side didn't hear a Steve Jobs nor a genius. They've heard a kid. And kids in their world apparently are not trustworthy. So I still remember that in the last phone call, the person said, we don't typically find a student with no background nor credentials. So the translation is that we don't trust you. And just like that, the fantastic office in my mind literally became a fantasy. I wasn't a millionaire. I was nobody. And their words stuck with me. They got deeply in my mind, so deep such that I started to believe them. Maybe entrepreneurship is just too far for a high school student, and maybe I wasn't trustworthy at all. So the little myself dropped this idea. But the story has not ended yet. In the last year in a business summer school, I met several board executives of the Rooted Futures, and have found that countless of other high school students had experienced similar doubts and dismissals. It was this shared wound that inspired them to build Rooted Futures, a high school student-led nonprofit organization that aims at to nurture and support youth entrepreneurs. So I started to think, a lot of people, even myself back in that time, had stereotypically assumed that entrepreneurs are those who have come of age, are those experienced the doubts. But is that because it is the truth, or is it because they are the only ones who can get a chance? I thought maybe this high school student could also thrive if there's someone who believed them. So I bring Rooted Future back to my city, and I want to reignite the sparks. The first experiment I did was to support the 3D printing club of our school. I gave them a little bit of money to support their project, but it wasn't just cash. It was a vote of trust. And facts proved my hypothesis. This money ignited their inner flame. In just 2 weeks, they grew their club membership by 17, and then, completely on their own, figured out a way to sell some of their creations to fund their future activities. And now, the club even offers a prototyping service for other student entrepreneurs to make their first ever actual product. I have never seen such a high level of spontaneity, especially in a student club. And actually, this is not a student club anymore. It's more like a self-sustaining startup fueled by raw passion. So this little success gave me a lot of confidence so that I started to help more people, like Sam. His team had a brilliant idea for in a business competition to solve the problem of power shortage coming from the rising need in EV charging. But after the competition ends, the team was disbanded and the project just stuck. Sam told me that no one was listening to them, and even his own apartment building wouldn't give him the access to the power usage data to test his algorithm. This reminds me of the whiteboard problem I encountered several years ago. And this is his version of the whiteboard problem, a wall of people who wouldn't trust him because of his age. So we brainstormed. I suggested a plan. First, to build a test model with public data, and second, get an expert to back them up. And I also told him, we are reaching out for the data permission next time, wear a suit, pretend you're 25. I mean, it sounds funny, but it's also kind of sad, right? He had to look like someone else just to be taken seriously. But the good news is that several weeks later, he told me it worked. He got the data, and he sent me a video of his simulation working, proving that it could increase the building's charging capacity by 270%. This is definitely a tiny step comparing to what he wanted to do in the future, but I know it is a solid one, and it will keep motivating him throughout his journey. The stories of the 3D Printing Club and Sam are just two among many cases happened here at Rooted Future's Beijing chapter. And as we grow, now we are getting in touch with more student innovators, and I've learned the most important things throughout this journey. Entrepreneurs were not born courageous. They were ordinary people first, with a fragile, tenuous idea surrounded by doubt, uncertainty, and challenges. So now, to help these entrepreneurs better navigate these challenges, we're offering more support. We teach free entrepreneur courses. We run a startup competition that gives cash prizes. And we also have an interview series that allows youth entrepreneurs to learn from those successful ones. You see, we offer supports in various forms, sometimes with money, sometimes with insights. But the most important things we gave is trust. The thing that I craved for when I was creating my eraser, the thing that Sam was begging for just to test his idea. Trust pushes people who hesitate to take that first step, and it will keep driving them onward. So by doing so, we hope that Rooted Future could build a world that trusts young people, not just saying, I believe in you, but I mean real, solid trust with actions. So to all high schoolers here today, this is what I want to say. We're here listening to you, and we're about to provide support as you need. So why not start from now and find your own whiteboard? It is okay if your idea is small and slight. It is okay if it is not perfectly right, but it's not okay to keep it from the light and stay in the checklist forever out of sight. So now, grab your scratch papers, build a prototype, make the phone call, start to build the proof of your idea, and remember that you are trustworthy. Thank you very much.